Hi guys, and welcome to Airability, your regular dose of lead therapy. And today I'm joined by the Vector Sentinel-X Pro. Now, as we all know, I'm a great advocate for the Vector Sentinel-X. It's a fantastic entry-level Benchrest scope, probably the best in its class. And it also is my highest viewed video of all. But you know, you can get these Sentinel-X's for as low as £169 at places like Optics Warehouse. For another £20, you can get the Sentinel-X Pro. So, what do you get for your money? We'll have a look after we do the walk around. There are many shooters already utilising the Vector Sentinel-X, the original model. I know many club shooters who have a number of the units on different rifles, including live fire. Also, a lot of the up-and-coming shooters on the tour are also using the Sentinel-X as an entry-level Benchrest scope. Now, I'm going to talk about this, the Sentinel-X Pro, and what the differences are. So, and like I said before, you know, when you're buying one of these, it's only about a £20 upgrade from the Sentinel-X. Now, looking front to back, things that you get with this scope. You get the flip top covers, which are a nice addition, you know, keeps the dust off your lens when you're storing your gun. But the best bit is you get a sunshade in with the price of the Sentinel-X Pro, which is very handy because I know some people have found it hard to source a sunshade for the original Sentinel-X. So that's, you know, that's worth the £20 upgrade alone. Now, we come into the 50mm objective lens here, which is, you know, probably a little larger than most Benchrest scopes for an objective lens. For instance, the Cyclon's about 45mm, there's a 42mm version, etc. Now, the finish on this is, I would say, it's semi-matte. It's got a bit of a sheen to it. Or if you want to call it, if you want to be picky, you could call it a satin finish. It seems, you know, durable as far as I can see, and there's no issues with it. Coming down the bell here, I've added a Vector Optics bubble level here. It's a necessity for all Benchrest shooters. You know, cant is a terrible thing and it can destroy your accuracy. So further down, we come to a 30mm tube, and these mounts that are shown here are supplied by Vector Optics in the box. The Picatinny Weaver mounts, they're perfectly adequate. I would call them high mounts. They're a little high for this setup here, but I utilised them because I wanted to try the mounts that came in the box. Now, also, if you buy them from Optics Warehouse, if you buy the scope from Optics Warehouse, they throw in a set of dovetail mounts as well. So everybody's pretty much covered with a mounting solution. Now, like I say, if you're moving back down this 30mm tube, you come to the turret housing. And this is where things start to get a little different from the original Sentinel-X. So the top turret here, it is not lockable, but it has a zero stop on it. Fantastic. Most Benchrest shooters would not don't like the pull out and push down locks on turrets, because sometimes it can actually just move the crosshair a little bit when you engage it. But saying that, on the side here, the horizontal adjustment, it does have a lock on, which I find strange. You know, most scopes usually have both locks on or no locks on. But again, the lock works fine. when you take it off with both turrets, the clicks are robust. You can feel where you're going as well. There's a definite click there. There's no confusion that you've moved forward 1/8 of an MOA. And also, I would say there's very little slop in the turret as well for a scope of this price. You know, in my opinion, you know, cheap scopes, you can usually tell on the turret housing how cheap they are because of things like slop in the turrets and the lack of a firm click. Now, if you go over the other side here, is the parallax focus, you know, the focus that you use to focus your target in. Yes, very clear indeed. I would say optically this scope is better than my original Sentinel-X, and if they're all coming out the factory like that, you're going to be getting some incredible value for money. Now, the parallax focus, I wouldn't say you could range find with it because it's a little bit picky getting it focused, but for Benchrest shooting, it's absolutely fine. You can zero it into that target, and it's absolutely crystal clear. Even right up to 40 mag. My original Sentinel-X wasn't that crystal clear right up, but this one there is a definite difference. What I will say is I'm talking about this as a sub 250, 200 pound scope. I'm not comparing it against things like Cyclone, Falcon, you know, March, Loophole, anything like that. This is in a class of its own and fantastic value in that class. So yeah, the parallax focus. Then further out, there's a ring for an illuminated reticle. Now that is an addition on the Pro version. So for that extra 20 quid or so, you're getting a sunshade and you're getting an illuminated reticle, which, you know, I think is a fair upgrade for 20 quid. I don't personally use the illuminated reticles much because most Benchrest shooters shoot outdoors in decent enough light during the day, and there's no need for it. But I would suppose if you're shooting at a club level and the lights in your club are not, you know, as good as they could be, or you're shooting at targets with a black background, this could come in really useful. So it's a nice addition to have there if you decide you need it. Now moving back down the 30mm tube, I've got another one of their supplied Picatinny weave mounts, and it's absolutely fine. These haven't moved, they haven't required any tightening up. I shot it for a full day yesterday to give it a really good going over this scope. And moving back here, we have the collar, which you can rotate to adjust the zoom. Now, what I will say is there's really nice knurling on this collar to give you a firm grip to enable you to turn the collar to whatever magnification you want without any slipping. Now, that's really, really nice thing to have. And this is duplicated and mirrored on the turrets themselves. So it all kind of ties in a design sort of a way. Now, moving back to the eyepiece here, we have a smaller lens cap, which, you know, as I said, comes in handy. And then we have the focus ring. And this focus ring focuses the reticle, the crosshair. And what I will say is a lot of people rush this part as setting up a scope. Now, what you should really do is put an absolutely blank piece of paper down the end of the range, and so your eye isn't focusing at anything at the end of the range, and focus on the reticle, on the crosshair when you're setting up your gun to get it absolutely pin sharp. Now, we need to remember to pretend that you're looking far away when you set this up. Don't set your eyes as if you're looking at a book close up. Stare into the distance when you're setting up the reticle focus, and you'll get the best results. Now, the reticle is meant to be a custom reticle with a dot in the middle that equates to the inside of a bull of a Benchrest target at 25 meters. Now, that's a nice selling point. It's a nice thing to say, but what I will say is, especially outdoors, Benchrest shooters rarely line up the central dot with the bull. But again, the dot is fine, the crosshairs are fine, and you can really judge well where you're at on the target when you're holding off for the wind. So I would say the reticle is very suited towards Benchrest shooting. And one of the things that makes me also think the reticle is great for Benchrest shooting is because some people say it's too thin. And that mostly comes from people who are not Benchrest shooters, who don't understand how thin we need the reticle. And also The reticle doesn't have to be that fat on a Benchrest scope because we're usually shooting at a plain white background where the reticle, you know, pops and stands out. So yeah, there's the focal ring right at the back of this scope. Now, in closing, what I will say is this scope retails in the UK for under £200. If you look carefully, you can get it with both the Picatinny mounts that come in the box, and some suppliers add a set of dovetail mounts on top. So you have all the, you know, the mounting solutions for most guns set out there. I would say that there is nothing in the market that I know that is suitable for proper high quality Benchrest shooting under £200 other than this scope here. And that shows in the amount of club shooters and shooters new to the tour that are using them. The turrets are good, they're firm clicks. I'm very happy with the unit, and I would say that I've got to be absolutely clear when I review this. I am absolutely, you know, singing this scope's praises in its class. You know, it is not a £1,000, £1,500 Citron. It's not a £500, £800 Falcon. But what it is it's a fantastic vehicle to get people into the sport of benchresting, where budget is a concern. And it is absolutely stand out in its class of under £200. Until next time, guys, remember, there's the Airability Facebook group. If you want to chat with me and my friends, join the Airability Facebook group and have a good time. There's about 2,100 of us at the moment, and we talk about everything from Benchrest to plinking, and also have a bit of fun on there. So if you want to know more about the channel and talk to the people involved, join the Airability Facebook group. Until then, guys, get out there and live that airgun dream, and take care. Bye bye.